Miss Helen? The water's boiling.
Hello! Ah! Oh, I'm sorry to frighten you, dear. I must look like a yeti in this get-up. This is my nightly meringue mask, part of my beauty regimen.
The Christmas season means family, home, good cheer, and, of course, ratcheting up America's culture war. In Seattle, a theatre put on a stage adaptation of the Robin Williams film Mrs. Doubtfire, but a cabal of activists protested the play because it's about a man dressing up as a woman. In the words of the Seattle Times, the play is, quote, problematic because, quote, a man in a dress doesn't cut it as a punchline in 2019. Not without serious and necessary conversations, unquote. Jason Rantz is a Seattle radio host and he joins us. Jason, the minute I hear the words problematic and necessary conversations, I just want to lock myself in Mayor Pete's wine cave for a month. This is essentially an argument between two groups of liberals. The theatrical liberals who put on the play and another group of liberals who say, sorry, you guys aren't liberal enough. So I don't really have a dog in this fight. What's the best way to pick the justice of this situation?
I think we look at it for what it is. The Seattle Times decided to call this problematic, and I'm with you. That's a term that doesn't mean anything anymore.
It's a problematic term in itself.
But let's have that serious conversation. The conversation is we've decided to elevate a small group of crazy people who legitimately believe that Mrs. Doubtfire is leading to the deaths of transgender individuals. That's just not the case. They call it in this. They did an interview with a series of individuals from the community that they picked out. One of them said that this was unconscionable. Another one said that this is a death sentence for transgender individuals to make jokes about a character who's not even transgender. The character's not transgender.
No.
So it's kind of ridiculous what the Seattle Times has decided to do here. This is not about the small percentage of people who legitimately think this is problematic. This is for the people to go on Twitter and on Facebook, and you and I probably see them every day, the woke scolds who want to tell you how elevated they are, how evolved they are, that they're looking out for people who are victims of something beyond their control, also that they can say that they're heroes. They're not heroes, they're part of the problem.
Is it also, though, about the hierarchy of victimhood among identity groups? Because there does seem to be a conflict between transvesticism, which has been a big part of theatre for thousands of years, and exists more generally, and then gender dysphoria, so-called, which is a completely different thing on a completely different scale. And, for example, I think some drag queens were kicked out of the LGBT whatever parade in Glasgow, Scotland, because the transgenders are, in other words, there are internal contradictions, as Marx would say, to the Rainbow Coalition. And at some point, the conflicts between transgender and feminists, transgender and homosexuality, transgender and transvestism are gonna wreck the whole happy party.
It's a race to the furthest to the left that you possibly can go, so you can call yourself a victim. I mean, there are you get some points in social media when you say you belong to a victim class. Number one, because then you're pitied. And then number two, you have someone fighting for you. And you always have someone fighting for you on the left because they want to tell you that they're fighting for you, that you would not be able to exist in Trump's America if it was not for them. And it's kind of ridiculous, and it's almost to the point of parody. And yet we talk about these stories almost every single day, so it's no longer a parody.
No, and in the end, everything will be banned. Jason, thank you for that.
Thanks for having me.
Mrs. Doubtfire isn't the only quote unquote problematic